Just gonna go find a little place to sit. Not so much a walk, just find a little place to sit. I didn't bring my compass because I've had it in my hand, but I put on the wrong jacket, and then I changed jackets and I left it. But anyway, it's not going very far. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't have much time. The sun's going down. So we're just gonna look for a little place here somewhere. I can only just now walk in this area because of my boots, so I haven't really gone this way. A big bunch of fallen trees. Lily, you're very photogenic. Look at that little mossy rock, isn't it cool? Let's just go over here and see. Find a place to sit down, Lily. Oh, a little clearing. This looks good. Let's find somewhere to sit in here. I could sit on one of these fallen trees. Lily? Oh, there's a tree. I'll sit over on that tree. Do you want to help me find a place, Lily? No, I'm not going over there. Where are you going? I've seen some squirrels, but I don't think Lily's seen many squirrels. She doesn't really know how squirrels work going up the trees. Lily, we're going over this way. Going the wrong way. Lily, I get to decide the way. I wish I wouldn't have got lost if I could have just told her that it wasn't my turn. It was her turn to find the way home. Oh, I have been over here a different way. This little pile of rocks. Should I go sit on that hill, Lily? Let's go sit on that hill. You don't have to sit, Lily. You can keep it exploring. When I say let's sit, I mean I will sit. You, of course, will still run around. You don't like sitting in the forest much. You like running around it. I'll sit on one of these rocks, Lily. Ah, so pretty. I brought spare batteries, and I see it's about to go out, so I will need to. I got some rechargeable batteries because I'm running through batteries like crazy on this thing. Partially because I think I don't forget to turn it off and whatnot. All right, now I find that when I don't ask for advice, I get a lot of advice anyway. And when I do ask for advice, I don't get any. From you guys, I mean. So let's try to rectify that situation. I'm going to run something by you that I've been thinking a lot about today. In fact, I spent like 4 hours when I meant to spend like 15 minutes thinking about it, but then I researched and researched. So as some of you will know, those paying attention, I'm trying to start independent contracting in software. I added the in software part because I've mentioned that I was going to do independent contracting. I had people ask me what kind of work I do. I'm a software programmer with a BA in philosophy. I'm a self-taught software expert, and I think I can say that with confidence, considering I've had like a 25-year plus career. I've been paid for programming since I was about 14. I worked my way through college with it, and developed a resume that got me jobs. And I think being a senior science software engineer proves at least a little bit that I must know a little bit about what I'm doing, because that's hard to get with the BA in philosophy. But I don't mean to be egotistical about it. I'm just saying, okay. So independent contracting. Now, I've been trying to focus on developing some software. I'm going to go work probably till 2 in the morning on my ResponseDB software, which I'm getting up to speed on what was going on with it and how it worked. It's surprising how much I had to relearn that was fresh in mind when I was still in Hawaii, but after taking a month and a half off from it, just sort of just escaped my mind. But I have started looking for some, sending my resume off and trying to get some work, probably, after today and yesterday, about a half a dozen places. So what I had to think a lot about is there's this one opportunity that is working in Bitcoin right now. Now, I heard about Bitcoin as if it was the holy grail from sort of the libertarian, we hate the Fed kind of culture. I dislike the Fed. I think the banking industry, I mean, I've gotten over my hatred of money in general. Like, it was literally the root of all evil. And I'm pretty okay with money at the moment. But I'm not okay with the financial industry, the banking industry. I think it's the root of all evil. And it's the single most major impediment to global progress, I think. And so Bitcoin is disruptive to that. That's a good thing. On the other hand, it's bullshit, a lot of things people say about it, like it's unhackable and stuff. I read the white paper. I understand the technology of Bitcoin, and it's a distributed ledger. And the whole promise that it's unhackable and totally safe or something, kind of the fact that there's no transaction fees, even though there are. And so that's been a lot of bullshit. But the algorithm is fascinating. Now, years and years ago, I developed an idea. It was more of a thought experiment. I didn't intend to implement it. I never have worked on implementing any of it. But it was still a project to design what I call a barter bank. It would be kind of like what I ended up designing would be like an eBay where you could barter. So you could say, "Hey, I have jelly beans and I want loaves of bread." And instead of having to find somebody that has loaves of bread in their warehouse and wants jelly beans, wait, did I do that backwards? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. This eBay site, having millions of people in it, could satisfy that trade, saying, I want. I'll redo it. Say I have jelly beans and I want loaves of bread. So that means, okay, I want to pay for jelly beans in loaves of bread. And the problem with barter, of course, is that the guy that wants the jelly beans, I fucked it up again. Anyway, the guy that wants jelly beans doesn't necessarily have loaves of bread, or the guy that wants loaves of bread doesn't necessarily have jelly beans. So we're not a perfect match. But if you take 5 or 6 people of what everybody wants and what everybody has, with 6 or 7 degrees, you ought to be able to satisfy a trade like that. And the algorithm behind Bitcoin is something. It's very similar technologically to my barter system. And the idea that Bitcoin is a currency, well, that's just one thing you can use it to replace. It's not a currency at all. It's more a replacement for currency, a way to do exchanges electronically and use computers to solve the problem of scale and the warehousing problem associated with large-scale barter. So I like the technology. On the other hand, I think there's just tons of bullshit in the promises that people are making of Bitcoin. I've been following the Bitcoin news. I know about the Silk Road kind of problem and fly-by-night companies. And so my concern with Bitcoin and with working in Bitcoin with companies that are providing Bitcoin-related services or products is that it's just buried under all this hype. And I think there's a lot of shady characters involved in Bitcoin and fly-by-night kind of people that like to live. They're like the algal bloom that forms around excessively misleading hype. So I don't think having a Bitcoin work on my resume is going to look too good on my resume. I mean, I have a lot more mainstream and legitimate uh, items in industry and science on my resume. So I went over and over whether I should even send a letter to these people saying I'm interested in talking to them about the work that they have. Now, the company I'm working for, they're legitimate. They're not fly-by-night. They make a Bitcoin ATM that can turn fiat currency into Bitcoin. And the person that buys the machine has to load the Bitcoin on there. They're not a bank. They don't do any of the exchange work. They just have this ATM that you can load Bitcoins into, and it's a physical device that can, with a money reader that'll take, paper bills and give you Bitcoins out of it. I decided I would send a letter off, and I spent like 4 or 5 hours composing my email to them, most of that time being researching various things like what's the current IRS take on virtual currency, and looking to this company in particular, and they've had their devices reviewed and wired in the Financial Times and stuff, and they've sold several hundred of them, and I don't know, it looks like done $500,000 to $1 million worth of business on them. I have no idea, of course, what their overheads are. And my main concern, a fear really, is that there's so many fly-by-night organizations, and also just in general, a little bit of concern of, is that really where I want to focus any effort? I mean, what if I got that job? And I certainly don't think that the Bitcoin phenomena is particularly likely to be a long-lasting phenomena. So I'm looking at, okay, so let's say I work in that area for a year or two. How's that going to look on my resume? How's that going to help me sell my services in general? How's that going to help me work on the projects I also want to work on? Now, the benefits are it's sort of an open source world, and I should be able to still work on things like the response DB and contributing to other open source and developing other open source products. So it has that going for it. But do I really want to be associated? And do I want to kind of have to look over my shoulder a lot by diving into a pool full of sharks? And I decided I would, and I'm whittled it down to this because I already wasted too much time thinking about it today. I know it wasn't necessarily the best use of my time, so I didn't want to just stop thinking about it, though I kind of wanted to wrap it up. So if I got a reply from my email, I wanted to be prepared to know, what my plan of action was. And I basically decided that, one, I would have to meet these people in person, and judge their character. And then two, the money would have to be right. It would have to be financially beneficial to me. I'm not going to do it on spec. I'm not going to be a part of the fly-by-night part of the organization. I satisfied myself that the company I was talking to is creating real material devices. They're not just pictures on a web page. They really have made them. They really are out there. People have had them in their hand and reviewed them. So I just dissolved it down to that. Basically, if this goes anywhere, then my action items are to one, judge their character, which is one thing, and I have to read them, and two, is the price right? And then sort of the intersection of the two is that, that I'm certain that I'll be paid. Does no good for the price to be right and to not get paid. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of emotional input to offer on Bitcoin and have your own opinions on Bitcoin. Unless you're a technical person, I don't think you probably understand the technology, most of you, because what Bitcoin allegedly is in the press, which is this currency thing, is not what Bitcoin actually is at all. But still, I'm not saying your opinions are invalid. No, quite the opposite. I'm asking for your opinions. All right. So I'm curious about your impressions. Now, I don't really need anything as simplistic as it's all bullshit. I think it's going to be a short-lived phenomena. On the other hand, you know, it is disruptive to the financial industry. I consider that a good thing. And, you know, it might lead to a next step. And at the very least, it's one of these things that's shaking people's ideas up about how money has to work. And I really feel that the way money works and money's dependency on debt and central banks and the financial industry is a big problem for the world. It has to be shook up. You know, people have to open their mind to these kind of concepts. Now, myself, I have thought through a lot. You know, could you even have a world without money? What is money? What is currency? Is there other ways to do currency? Can technology solve the problems that we solved thousands of years ago, or that we addressed but didn't solve thousands of years ago with purely barter-based systems? Are there systems where we can get back to barter in the sense of the good side of barter and the low overhead of barter without, you know, by filtering out the inefficient parts of barter and like the warehousing problem of, okay, somebody just paid me 1,000 loaves of bread for 1,000,000 jelly beans, and I don't really want loaves of bread. Now I gotta find somebody that wants loaves of bread, and I gotta keep doing that till I get the, you know, the treadmill I really wanted to buy. So I don't really want to buy a treadmill, but it's just the first thing that came to mind. So you know, I definitely don't see a long-term possibility in it, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't, you know, accept a 3-month or 6-month contract working in the Bitcoin industry, learn the distributed ledger algorithm, and which I think has a lot of interesting applications besides this libertarian, libertopia, we hate the Fed kind of approach. There's one of those squirrels. I just saw a black rat over there, forest mouse, giant. Well, no, it's like about that big. Lily didn't see it. She's a Hawaiian dog. She doesn't know. I don't think she even expects there to be so many anything besides mongoose. If I was to judge. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? I mean, would it be unwise to accept a 6-month contract doing something Bitcoin related? I'm definitely not a zealot. As a matter of fact, I'm quite suspicious of it as a cultural phenomenon. But I'm into it as a distributed algorithm and as a peer-to-peer secure ledger. So so save the hysterics, but if you have anything to say on that, I'll be interested to read your replies and comments or in video. And if anybody does have in-depth knowledge, which some of you probably do, then please share that with me. I'd be interested in discussing that with you. All right, that's all for now. It's time for me to go back inside and work on the response DB extension. Go home, Lily. Show me the way home, Lily. Come on. You can do it. You're leading the way, Lily. But not just any way. It has to be back home. Think that way? Okay. Over here? Alright. What are we looking at there? Something smells over there? I can't go under that tree. I'm gonna have to step over it, Lily. I'm not going through there either. Lily, I'm 6 foot tall. Yeah, I'm still coming. It'd be easy if I didn't have a camera in my hand. Oh, here's that little rock. Love that rock. With its moss hairdo. Alright. You gonna, I'm not walking through there. I'll go around this way. Crazy dog. Crazy dog. Where now, Lily? Where do we go now? I have a feeling you don't want to go back home. Oh, you're just going around this way? Okay, I believe you. Oh my God, Lily, you did it. We're communicating. Lily, I don't need a compass if I can teach you how to go home. I know you never get lost. Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Here's the house. Lily did it. Oh, Lily, you're so good of a dog. So good of a dog. Go around the loop this way on the loop, Lily.